I'm Covenant Ironface, and my partner, Dretmo Caress. We represent TeamNO. Today is a really good day. Today we saw Bridge of Spies starring Tom Hanks. Anything special to say before we get started?
Just that I know this isn't our usual set of films. This was not very fast-paced action-y or anime or adventure or anything like that, yet it's still, jumping ahead a little bit, it still was a good movie. And of course we're going to break it down so that you can really see why we like this movie. Like any movies, we probably have a few things to critique about it, things we didn't like, but overall, it's pretty good. So let's sit down, obviously jump straight into it. The plot of Bridge of Spies revolves around our main character, Tom Hanks, who is playing Jim Donovan.
1957.
1957, Jim Donovan as a lawyer. Now, it kind of starts one place and jumps to another one, so without giving too much away, the beginning of the movie is about they discover a Russian spy, they believe. And Donovan is brought in, even though he's an insurance lawyer, to defend him as a public defendant. And he takes his job seriously. He's a good man. And even the Russian spy essentially loves him for the job he's doing. Not going too much into that, it turns into later that they have to exchange this spy. And I mean, that's our plot. I hate to give too much away. And so, instead of just being his defendant now, they have Donovan go out to negotiate the exchange for an American for this spy. And that's really where it stands. Now, it's based on a true story. I sadly haven't done the research, so I don't know how much of it is 100% true. But based on, gives you a little bit of leeway to say whatever you want in the movie.
From what I remember of my history lessons, not very well, I do think it's a fairly accurate description of about, at least from the American side of what happened. And one thing that we always look at is the main characters, and oh my God, is Tom Hanks an amazing actor. I've never loved him more than in Saving Mr. Banks, but this movie is pretty damn close. He is a phenomenal actor. And in this, he plays Jim Donovan, like we said. He is the devil's advocate. He doesn't want to protect this, not necessarily protect, but defend this agent, but he does it anyways, and he does it to his fullest extent. And that's kind of the main problem, because everybody automatically goes, oh, well, you're siding with the enemy, No, that's what the American system does. And that's one of his key points is like, hey, no, what we do to this guy is what will happen to somebody else if they get captured on the other side. The way you look at a society is not how they treat their elites, but how they treat their prisoners.
And there is, I hate to cut you off, but there's a really important line, kind of a spoiler alert here, that the supposed spy says to him. And it means everything, because the supposed spy was caught while painting. And he says, well, Mr. Donovan, you never asked me if I actually was a spy. And Tom Hanks replies, it doesn't matter. I always thought you were an artist. What that means as a defendant is, it basically on our system, it doesn't matter if he is or is not a spy. And Donovan knows this. What matters is that he defends him to the fullest of his capability.
And I usually look at, villains in this movie, and there really aren't. There's several conflicting sides. There's Donovan by himself. There's the Russian by himself. There's the American government, which of course they're trying to get their spy back. There's the Russian trying to get their spy back. There's all these political games going on, and it's all centered around this simple lawyer who just wants to do his job to the best that he can. And that's really the conflict of itself, and that's what the villain is.
The conflict is...
Yeah, that's what makes this movie so entertaining. And it's not our usual cup of tea, like we said. but it kept our attention throughout the entire movie. And I'm all for, big important bad guys, having somebody to point the blame to, but this was very, very well done.
And it's important to note that, sadly, I am not rehearsed enough to name all these actors for you, but his supporting cast was also very good. The key ones that I want to focus on are actually one from each faction. You have essentially a head KGB guy. He is representing the Russians and the American spy that's captured that they want to trade for. There is a German official who is representing on the same side, I guess technically, as the Russians, but the separate faction because of what was going on, in Berlin and the Cold War at the time. And he's trying to get the spy traded for a different American. Then there is the CIA guy, who he's not really a bad person, but he only wants to work for the greater good. And he's constantly pushing to try and get this, the other American agent saved and ignore this other American that needs to also be traded for. All three of them do very well in their roles. Like I said, I wish I could tell you their names, but they seem to represent and interact, even though they don't interact directly, the political agenda that they represent interacts very well on the screen, and the story is told. And of course, like you said, we've got this poor little lawyer in the middle who's basically running in between all three of them, just trying to trade favors is what it feels like. What you hear about on Capitol Hill? Hey, if I do this for you, will you do this for me? Do this for you to do this for me. And then you have other random supporting cast. There are a few more people in the CIA. They just act like your classic G-men. And a couple of other people that he just talks to and supports along. But all of them, no matter how good they are, they really only are there to support Tom Hanks. He's the center of this. And they do a good job. I don't have any complaints about any of them. They just seem to be perfect.
I can agree with that. As far as the look and feel of this movie, it's set in 1957, and everybody's wearing the suit and the tie and the hat.
And the cat.
The hat.
Oh, sorry.
Whatever. Anyways, there's not a lot of CGI in this movie. It's all feel. It's all there. It's all set up to look like the 1950s. And you really have to appreciate the effort that they had to have gone through to make it look this way.
Even the cars. All the cars.
Yeah. And I have no real complaints about what they did throughout the movie. I didn't notice anything that was really out of place. I'm sure there's, one or two knickerbobbles that nobody cares about. This movie looked so amazing. And one of the scenes at the very beginning of the movie, like he said, he was caught painting. And one of the first things he does is he's painting out of a mirror. And painting over here with his right hand and looking out the mirror out of his left. And this was a powerful vision of what was about to come, with the spy being on either side trying to get to it. And I thought about that scene throughout the entire movie, and I thought it was just very powerful. Overall, I loved this movie. It's like we said time and again, this is not our cup of tea, but oh my God, this was an amazing movie.
There is another powerful image that's brought up twice in the movie that I think is very important to mention, to show kind of the differences of the locations and of the time that's going on. There is a scene midway through the movie where he is crossing on a train, and he's going from West Berlin to East Berlin. And you see what appears to be 4 young adults or children attempt to run across the wall and jump it. And of course at the time, that's illegal. Or I say illegal, I mean it's a war, but they get gunned down. And that's scary. The music, the tone, everything there is just crushing depression to see that kind of thing happening. But after everything is said and done, near the end of the movie, he's on a train in New York. And he's passing by what appears to be a similar scene. And you see 4 children come running out of a house, playing, and just climb and jump over like 3 or 4 fences. Perfectly fine with lighthearted, beautiful, serene music. And so it kind of gives you this very emotional feeling to carry from the middle of the movie to the change that is made because of this character. And so, I mean, and like he said, overall, this is great. I have little to no problem with this movie. I can't think of one thing that I actually saw wrong at all. The entire time I was entertained, just perfect. Cast was perfect, actors perfect in their roles, scenery perfect.
Powerful images, lovely lighthearted music to really scary music to when stuff's going on. Yeah, I have to recommend this movie. I have got to recommend this movie to everyone I see. Anything else to say?
I don't think there's much more to add to that. This is very worth it. We went and saw it in the balcony at our current Art of Warren. And I mean, if you can afford the balcony, go for it. Now, it's a comfortable thing to view, and it was a great movie. It's worth it to go spend time with friends, get a meal, see the movie. I don't think we've got anything else to add other than more. Yeah, it's perfect.
Love it. So there is literally so many movies coming out this week that we wanted to see. We kind of have to cut it down because of budget.
Time.
Budget and time, neither of which we have. But tomorrow, on Friday night, we're going to go see Goosebumps with Jack Black. And that looks just as entertaining.
It does, for various different reasons.
For different reasons.
On the list was originally Crimson Peak. If we can still find a way to fit it in, we may go still see that. But that's the one that had to hit the chopping block, because 2 movies in a week is already pretty big. 3 is really hard. And the point is, we're trying to do this as soon as we see the movie, as soon as it's come out. But go ahead and check out. We are going to go see Goosebumps for sure, and we'll be back on that tomorrow night. Of course, if you like what you hear, go ahead and click that like button below. And if you want to listen to more of our rambles, good or bad, go ahead and click on the subscribe button.
All right, folks. See you tomorrow.